Morning, well, it's Hippy Trev here. Yep, today's a day of installing a new inverter because my old one crapped itself, so roll the intro. Hi, Hippy Trev here and welcome to my channel. Hope you get something out of it. Rightio, well, it's Hippy Trev here. So, for some reason or another, about a week ago, my old inverter, this one, decided to give up the ghost. And I'm going to have to replace it. So I spent a week looking around and I rang quite a few places and they were wanting $400 and $500. I think they wanted nearly $400 for a 1500 watt inverter. This old one, it was only 1000 watts, an SAE. It was just a sine wave, not a pure sine wave, so I wasn't able to run my laptop on it or anything like that, but it did at one stage. It actually, when I had my excuse me, I'm huffing and puffing just on my lawns. When I was running the four 6-volt batteries I had that was up to 1000 amp hours, I ran everything on the bus, 240 volt fridge, everything was quite good until those batteries died. And then I ended up with some smaller batteries, but yeah, it was, I believe that was one of the reasons my old laptop completely crapped itself, because that's not a pure sine wave inverter. So, so I hunted around and I ended up with this beauty. Let's turn it around. This is a 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and this is not going to be a plug and play inverter. This one is a 24 volt system, which is what the bus is currently on. This one is a 12 volt inverter, so I have to change all my batteries over. Not only that, where this one was living in a little cavity which was really tight in there, I'm not putting it back in there. Also with this inverter, the leads are wired in internally. They don't just screw on. Hang on, just put that back. They don't just screw on, unlike the new inverter that has these big tags on the back. So I need this eyelet, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, and they're nice big thick connections. Some of the new inverters they only have they only run a very small core wire. This one, as you can see, big thick connection. So I couldn't get this out of where it was situated in the bus, and I'll show you in a minute. I could not get this out, so unfortunately what I had to do is I had to cut the wires. So, and I'll show you where it was and where the new one's going. Rightio, so we're coming up into the bus now. So this is my solar setup. As you can see, there's not much amps coming down at the moment because there's only lights and water pump running off the batteries. 27 point something volts up there on the regulator. There's no real amperage coming down because I'm not using any power and the battery's topped up. So where they had the old inverter was right down in here. It was right down in there. And these wires here I had to cut off. They because they're islanded on the other side and they go through the main guard there. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to put new eyelets. So I'm going to head down the shop shortly and buy a whole heap of these new eyelets, and I'm going to put them on there, cut and put them on there, and then I'm going to mount one of this little guy here. I'm going to mount that somewhere. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that at the moment. I've got to think about all this because there's not a lot of line there, and I'm not going to be able to get a drill in there. So I need to mount that somewhere where I can put those onto there using an eyelet. So that's going to go onto there, onto that like that. Take out this bar here because otherwise I just short everything out. So I take this bar out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the inverter up in here, in this spot here. So I'm going to have to run leads down and join up here. So I've got to make up my own leads using these eyelets. So finding a place, trying to mount that. So I don't have a lot of stretch on these cables. That's about as much as I've got where they come off the battery. I may be able to extend some of these. I'm not sure. So like I said, this is not a simple plug and play setup. Eyelet these two here. Find some way of securing this block to the deck so I can mount them onto them and then run the wires from the inverter down to here. Right, yeah, so we're going under the bus now. So under the bus here, I have 3 deep cycle batteries running at a 24 volt system. Now, how do you get 3 batteries run at 24 volts? Yeah, well, it was a bit testing, but I go. So these two are set up as 12, positive, positive, negative, negative. That's your 12, and then I'm running negative to positive, and out, and that gives me my whole 24 volt system. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm just going to have to rewire all this. This is my solar wire coming down from the solar panels, giving me 24 volts, and that goes over to there. That's from my regulator, and this is just a 12 volt system to run all my 12 volt gear, just running off these. So what I'm going to have to do is convert. So I have to rewire. I have to run positive, 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 negative, 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 and earth to the bus, and get a full 12 volt system. That is the wire coming down from inside the bus that goes through a massive big fuse here and into a shunt. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use the shunt, because I've looked on a couple of YouTubes, and apparently the shunt's supposed to run on the negative side of the battery, not the positive. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. Now, there's the lead there. I think that lead there is that runs up inside of the cab to the inverter. What I can maybe do is transfer that over to this side of the negative, which will give me a little bit more stretch on that lead there. I don't have any more stretch on this lead here, so I'm pretty limited to how far I can stretch that, because I definitely want to keep that big ass fuse in there. But I might be able to get a little bit more stretch on the negative side. I'm not really sure yet. So, but anyway, that's another job there. That's my positive lead there, so I have to make up leads from there to there, and there across to there. So these are the leads I've got in the shed here. So I've got a nice little negative lead I can use. I've got part of a positive lead I can use, which I can put an eyelet on there. And then I've got a big heavy duty lead here. I do have some of these battery leads. To get my length, I might have to cut that terminal off there, but I'm going to go and buy a heap of these eyelets. And I've also got some, and I've also got a fair length of this cable here that I can cut up and make into my own lead as well. So basically that's where we're at the moment. So the new inverter, I need a heap more of these eyelets. So there's another short lead I can make up there. Now, the guy who I bought this off said this was brand new, he never used it. Comes with a remote, which I probably won't need. And this guy paid $499 for this inverter here, 499 bucks, 500 bucks. I paid $250. He said it didn't come with any power leads. I'm huffing and puffing, sorry. He said, oh, it didn't come with power leads, but when you read the back of the box, it says packing details, 1 inverter, 1 pair of battery cables, which I don't have, 1 user manual, and 1 remote control. So he kind of shortchanged me on the power leads, but you know what? I need to make up my own anyway, so I've got a whole heap of power leads left on the shed floor here. There's another one there I can probably use. It's got a good eyelet on one side, but probably not big enough. I think I've got enough power cables there to make something happen. Now basically what I'm going to do is jump in the boat and head down and grab a few of these eyelets. So we'll catch you a bit later. Bye. Rightio, well, so time to get to work and start installing this inverter. Right, so 0 amperage is pretty much coming down. 27.7 volts at the battery. So first thing we do is we kill any power coming down from the solar. And it's already dropped to 26 volts. I don't even see that, was 25, and it'll just keep dropping because there's no power coming in. Second job is to convert this from 12, sorry, the next job is to, hi Judy, Auntie Judy, are those chimes. The second is to convert this to, I've got to remember how to do this, set, time, volts. It's 24 volts. I want to change it to 12. 0. Oh, I've got to do this again. I forget how to do this. Set. 20 voltage. Hold the button in. Blinking. 32, 36, 30, 48. Oop, I went past it. Oh, I've done it again. 12 volt. Hold the button. Right, so when I turn the solar panels back on, it'll only be putting 12 volts down onto the batteries. Next, with this switch here, we kill the power supply to the Plastronic solar regulator. Right, now we go downstairs and start rewiring all the batteries. Rightio, well, so we're under the bus. Firstly, now what I've found out is, this is a shunt in here. It's a big ass shunt. I've just done a quick reading. I've been watching a few videos and all their shunts run on the negative side, and I've just watched a video and it just showed that you do not wire a shunt in through on the positive side. You don't put it on the positive, you put it on the negative. So when it comes to wiring in the inverter, I'm going to have to move this. I might have to make a junction box. I don't know what I'm going to do about moving all this here because this is all hardwired in down in there. So, but I'm going to have to run a negative lead from my batteries up to here, and then hook the negative lead from what goes up into the cab for the inverter into here. So that's going to change a few things. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of thinking about how I'm going to rewire this. But the first thing I want to do is I want to disconnect my solar line, which is this one here, and I don't forget which one that line is. That's important. So I'm disconnecting my solar line. These are a great fuse holder. What happens if this fuse blows? This red light comes on and tells me that it's blown. So these are great fuse. So the first thing to do is we disconnect this. That's everything in the bus disconnected. Right, I'm going to get this big battery out. Oh my god, that weighs a fucking ton. That is so heavy. Oh. And I have these 12 volt batteries down in here, which are completely dead, and I'm not doing anything, so there's just no point having them here. They're complete waste. I'm going to do everything right from scratch. Everything. Now these are only these two red batteries. They're only 100 amp hours. So it's between those two. That's only 200 amp hours, which isn't. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, so these batteries are only 100 amp hours each. So between them, it's not a lot. But they do hold a good charge. Oh, this big bastard I'm loading up now. Oh. I do have to ground my batteries to the bus, otherwise none of my interior lights will work. So first things first is I've got to get this running, this 12 volt system up and running. So what I need to do now is make up some positive to positive leads. That's what I have to do now. The size of the cable absolutely matters. What I'm going to first do is make sure this cable I've got here will fit the eyelets I've got. So I'm just going to take this plastic off. Alright, that just fits. It's not a very good fit, but I can make it fit. because I don't want to waste any cable I've got. This cable's a little bit thin, but I'm going to use it anyway. A little bit longer than it should be. A little bit longer than that one. A little bit of length won't hurt. I don't think it matters having slightly mismarked, because that's pretty heavy duty cable there. This one over here is pretty heavy duty. I don't know how much this matters with what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, so these eyelets are actually a little bit too big for this cable. I hope that doesn't matter either. Hopefully they'll clamp down. Twister. Should be soldering them. I should fray them like that, all the way around. Not sure this is the way it should be done. Maybe not. Nope, not going to fit that way. Alright, back to the original way. Got to try these things. Twist. Right, so these eyelets are almost too big for this job. I'm going to use them anyway. And hopefully I can get a clamp on. Oh god, that's too hard, I can't clamp them. That's ugly. I should have done with the vice. That's an ugly clamp, I can tell you that. Put a new eyelet on that, I reckon. I'll put a new eyelet on this one too. Rightio. So basically we should have 12 volt from one end of the system to the other. If not, I'm in deep shit. 13.8. Yep, that's good. Rightio. Come with me. Come with me. Rightio, back inside. Now we turn on this. 13.3 volts. Now we turn the solar panel on. Got amps coming. We've got a few amps coming down there now, which is good. And we're at 13.4 volts. And the amps are going up now, as you can see, because the batteries were being used. Well, actually they weren't being used, but there's power coming down now. So the amps go up to charge up the batteries. Rightio. Stage one of that system is now working. Oh, there's our friendly magpie. I can actually feed him on the clothesline. I can actually hand feed that guy on the clothesline, so that's pretty cool. Rightio, so that's the simple stuff done. Now I've got to get in and get the inverter wired up and sorted somehow. So I'm not sure how I'm going to crush their mileage, but anyway, the 12 volt system's all up and running, which is most important right now. And now I've just got to do some brain fixing and work out how to wire into the inverter. So I'll check back later when I'm got a little bit further down the line. Rightio, well, so the wires are all wired in down there. They're all wired up here. My 12 volt system's working as it should. Bit of amps coming down. I'll check that in a minute. So the first thing to do now is we turn everything off. Turn all the powers off. And before, so everything's turned off now. So before I actually plug that back into the main power line, what I have to do now is hook up this negative lead. And normally, right, so I've got my negative lead to hook up. Now, normally when you first connect these, they spark. They give you a bit of a fright, but that's what they do. But when you first put power to them, these inverters, they always make a spark. It's just part of what they do. Alright, let's get this hooked up. Yep, that's right. It's meant to do that. So I'm now running a negative shunt. Instead of, it was a positive shunt, so I'm now running a negative shunt. I probably don't need this, but it's maybe a bit of a security measure. I can hook it up to my Plastronics and it can give me all these readings that I don't really need. But it's there. Alright. Everything should be wired up the way it's supposed to be. So the first thing I'll do is we'll go on the bus and we'll actually turn the inverter on to make sure there's a green light there before we do anything else. So, powering up the inverter. Alright, we've got power. Beautiful. Now I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to hook my mains power up. Alright, so I've turned that off. Now I'm going to go and hook my mains power up, disconnect my laptop and fridge, and disconnect everything else up and turn things on one at a time and see how we go. Okay, so I've disconnected the mains power. Turn that off here. Disconnect it from this lead. Plug it into this lead. Turn the inverter on. It's all good. And now Now we should be back on mains power. Sorry. We should now all be running on inverter power. Yep. We've done it. Solar panel, power back on here. I'll just turn this power on. Solar panel's on. I'll turn on the second panel, kick up a bit more power. Voltage is going up as it should. I am now on inverter power, finally. Yeah, it's done, it's in. So I guess we'll see how long it lasts. I'm not going to plug my laptop or the fridge into that yet. I'm just going to run like my TV, my stereo, all my other 240 volt stuff. Everything but the fridge and the laptops now are running on the inverter that's 240 volt. I'll put the telly on a bit later, see how that all goes. Other than that, there's nothing. I think that's done. I'm huffing and puffing, always get nervous about this. So yeah, my new inverter's up and running. Just got to turn a couple more things on here. CB is on. Turn my scanner on. That's on where it's supposed to be. That's it, everything's running. I'm just going to check some lights down the bedroom here. Rightio, well that was a bit of an effort, but it's all done. I'm running, everything's back on inverted power bar. Okay, so it's done. The new inverter's all wired in and working. I'm going to check out my tally and a few things in a little while, make sure all they're in run. I can hear the stereo running, my pumps are running, all my lights are working, everything else is working here in the bus. Yeah, so I think that was 250 bucks well spent for a 2000 watt inverter. So I'll give this a trial for over a period of like about 4 or 5 days, make sure I get my batteries fully topped up again, things like that. Other than that, yeah, we're absolutely done. So anyway, worlds, pretty happy about that. Whew. Yeah, I'm exhausted. It's a bit nerve-wracking when you're wiring this stuff in, it really is. You're sort of like, you know, you can blow shit up pretty easily. So I'm pretty happy with the job I've done today. So can't wait to get back out on the bike. Can't wait to have my knees back in the breeze. So all right world, you know the drill. Stay safe, keep your knees in the breeze, and I'll catch you later. Bye.